Hello and welcome to E-MultiSkills video tutorial. In this video tutorial, we will see how to install MySQL 8.0.19 on Windows Server. So this is the latest version. So I have a real-time requirement. An application team member has asked me to install MySQL on one of the Windows Server. The details of the Windows Server is available. So whenever we get such a requirement, what we need to ask from the application team, because it is their requirement, like which MySQL version and distribution has to be installed onto the Windows Server. Whether it has to be Community Edition, it has to be Enterprise Edition, or to the Standard Edition. And apart from that, which version it has to be, whether it has to be some of the popular versions like 5.6, 5.7, or the latest. If they are not aware which version has to be installed, then it has to be the latest version, which is 8.0.19, which is the community version. So what we are going to ask is the version details, and if they are aware like how the data will be growing on the environment, like if they can forecast how much data will grow in maybe in another month or so, then we may ask them to provide separate storage for the data, backup, or the logs. So these are some of the prerequisites that has to be met, and we start with downloading the MySQL version 8.0.19. So I'll go to Internet Explorer and we'll search to download MySQL 8.0, or just go with this MySQL Community Server. In our requirement or in our demo, what we are going to do is we are going to install MySQL Community Edition 8.0, and I'm on this page. What I'm going to do is check now as by default you are going to see this other downloads, Windows x86 64-bit zip archive. I'm not interested with this. I'll just go to download page, and we will download the full installer version. So you have to look for Windows x86 32-bit or the and it has to be MSI, Microsoft installer, the full installer. There is one which is small in size, that there needs to be an internet connectivity so that this metadata can fetch everything from the internet. In our case, what we are going to do is a full installer which has everything. So just press download and it will download it. In my case, I have already downloaded it on my system and I'm going to install it from there. So this is the installer which I have to install. So MySQL installer community 8.0. Let's start the installation. So what we need to ask initially is which version it is, 5.6, 7, or 8.0, or the latest edition, and you need to ask whether it has to be the Community Edition or the Enterprise Edition or your Standard Edition. If there is no such requirement, by default we go with the Community Edition. If it is a production server, then most of the time it has to be an Enterprise Edition. So in this case, we are going with the Community Edition. The installation of the binary, it is very simple. There is no magic involved. It is you need to take care of some of the things. So this is the first page which comes up. So choose a setup type. So in our requirement, we were supposed to install the server only. So we'll go with the server only. There are other options, developer default, and if you see the developer default, there are several subcomponents available like MySQL Server, MySQL Shell, MySQL Router, MySQL Workbench, MySQL for Excel, MySQL for Visual Studio, MySQL connectors, examples, and tutorials. So there are a lot of things. If you click server only, it will give you the details of the server only. If it is a client only, then you can see the client details, like what all client things can be installed. Then MySQL shell, router, workbench, whatever you wanted. Or if you wanted to go with the full, it will install everything. So our requirement is just the server only. We'll click this. And since I have installed MySQL 8.0 multiple times, so on this particular location, so there is a conflict, but I wanted to override this. So it will ask you for two things. One is the install directory, where the binary has to be installed in the base location. So this is the base location of the binary, and data directory, the location where all the data files has to be installed. If it is a production environment, let's say you give a complete storage directory or the file system. Let's say I have given one drive whose name is D drive and it is labeled as data. So you can allocate to that and install it. Is the installation binary is going to take very less than a GB, so this is fine. So it is saying it will override the existing one, so I'm fine with that because I have already installed it, uninstalled, but I haven't removed the directory, so that is fine. I'll just go and override this. The following products will be installed, so we are going to install just the MySQL server only. So status is ready to install. We say execute, and it will show the details like what all is going to happen on this. So it is very fast. It is just 42% now, and within less than a minute it will be over. Once this is done, the next step is very important, and you need to take care of a few things over there. So it is about to finish. It is 75%, and this will be over anytime. 88%, and this is about to finish. It is done. Just say next, and it is ready to configure. We will walk through a configuration wizard for each of the following products. So what we are going to install is MySQL Server 8.0, and there are few things which has to be taken care. So we are not going to install the high availability. It is just the standalone MS MySQL Server that has to be installed. InnoDB we are not going to take care of because there will be a separate video on that. So let's go with the standalone MySQL servers. So this is one of the questions that you need to ask, whether it is a cluster or the standalone. So it is a standalone only in our case. And server configuration, we need to ask whether this particular server where this MySQL server is getting installed, it is just the installation of this particular MySQL server only, or there will be few other applications only. So you have three options available: development computer, where multiple options are available for excuse me. This is development server, maybe some other application has to be installed, or server computer, or this particular server is dedicated for the MySQL server only, or it is a dedicated computer. So in our case, let's say it is a development system, or let's say it is a server computer only. Then it will display the connectivity in terms of the port. This is the default port. If you wanted to change, you can change it over here. And show advanced and logging options, you can configure this, or you can check this so that you can control where your logs will go. Just click next, and then it asks for you the authentication method. 8.0 has a very strong password authentication, and whenever we use this, you have to make sure that the clients, they should be compatible with this. The drivers and the connectors, that should be compatible with 8.0. If it is not, you can select this, but you have to ask your application team whatever clients or the application which are trying to connect their drivers or the connector has to be compatible with this. Otherwise, you need to degrade it to authentication method of MySQL 5.0 onwards. We are okay with this, so we will go with use strong password encryption and root enter the password for the root account. So let's say we have given a password. That's fine. Let's go to the next step. So we have given a strong password, and what we are going to say is configure this as a Windows Service MySQL 8.0 and run Windows Service as standard system account. And This is what it is recommended. We are not going with the custom user, so it is fine. Let's go to the next step. Here we can control how our error log or the general log naming will occur, and where should we place these error files. And in our case, we wanted to keep it at the default location. We are not going to check the general log, slow log, or bin log. So this is fine as of now. Just click to the next. It is asking for the advanced option. It is fine. Let's go to the next, and configuration steps are going to execute over here. So first step is writing the configuration file and then updating the Windows firewall rules, adjusting the Windows service, then starting the server, and other things will happen. So let's just press execute command, and it is going to work now. The configuration is successful, and we'll just press finish and then next. If you wanted to see, let's say your installation has got some error, then you can copy the logs to this clipboard, and you can see what all the steps has happened over there. So in our case, everything was fine. We'll just say finish, and this is fine. Now when this installation has successful, we have to log into the server just to check if everything was okay. We are able to log in or not. I'm logging into I have opened services.msc. We'll go to MySQL service, which is created, and we will look at let me refresh it. MySQL 8.0 is created. Let's go to the properties, and this is the location where my binary is located. Let's go to that location. Open a new command prompt, cd to that location, and just say MySQL -u root -p and enter the password. It was MySQL at 1234. Yes, we are able to log in. Just say show databases, and everything is fine. So you can see we are able to log in, and we are able to log into the root, and this is the basic thing we have done. We have logged in through the root user, but there are other things which we can do, like changing the data directory if you wanted to do. And this is the end of the basic stuff over here. I think this is going to help, and thanks for watching.